So I'm Loretta Lam, and I live in upstate New York, a little tiny town called Carmel, New York in the Hudson Valley. And I've lived in the Northeast all my life, although I've moved to other places, but I love the Northeast. I'm a country girl, raised in a very, very small town, and so I love anything that's about nature. I grew up walking in the woods and really spending all my free time as a child in the woods with a drawing book and my dog. So everything is really a riff on the woods. I like to tell people that if you look at my individual beads and you see those little doodads, I call them, the little cane slices dancing across the surface, what you're really looking at is a path through the woods. When you walk in the woods, you have to walk looking down. Because of the roots and the stones, you fall on your face. So I'm always looking down and I'm seeing acorns and mushrooms and all the little nuts and berries that are on the woodland floor. And that is my visual and color inspiration. So I'm always toning down my color to get at that natural palette. I work very hard on my color. Anybody who looks at my work knows I don't spend a lot of time on caning or technique-y things. I'm really working with the polymer as solid paint. It's immediate, like paint. You mix the color that you want and just lay it down. I have a BFA in silversmithing. Yes. In college I did a lot of enameling, so there was the color. And I have a minor in painting. So I've always been a painter as well. So it's always been about the color. And finding polymer, it was that immediate color. It didn't have to be like enamel. You put it in on, or pottery, where the color is one thing when it's green and another thing when it's cured. This is a color that I can work exactly with the subtlety that I want.
Polymer?
Just like
Yeah.
I started in 1999. Yeah. So I was in that wave of people who saw it done on TV. And when I saw it done on TV, I was so attracted to it that I resisted buying any for almost a year. I thought, if I try this, I was raising a little kid at home. I thought, if I try this, I'm going all the way. I'll go all the way down that road. They don't help artists in school know how to be in business. And when I started doing the polymer, I did my first show within 3 months of getting my first cakes. Yeah. And I knew it was the right thing. And every night my husband would come home and I'd say, look what I made today. And then I would say to him once a week, I think I could make a business out of this. I think I could do this for money. I think I could do this. And I started very slowly doing just small local shows because I had to learn how to do business. I had no idea how to be an entrepreneur. And over the course of a decade, I went from the local high school show, granny squares and that sort of thing, to the big retail shows, ACC, and big wholesale shows. Even early on, once I found my signature look, people said, oh, you need to be working at the next level. You need to go to these bigger shows. But I was scared because I was still feeling uncertain about my business, not about the art. I knew I had something to say and I knew that it was working. The public was responding beautifully to the work. But I didn't know if I had the business acumen to go in that direction. So I put it off as long as I could. When I got the niche nomination, I immediately called them up and said, can I get into the wholesale show? And I put the whole wholesale business together in 14 weeks. So I started in 2008 with wholesale, and I am currently in 60 galleries from Alaska to Key West, from Maine to San Diego. And it's a wonderful way to do business because I make the work to order. I make a certain number of products, show them in different palettes, and the buyers, you know, pick up a selection to put in their store, and then I go home and make it. Last year was extremely busy wholesale, and I worked 7 days a week. In fact, last year was so busy I didn't have a day off until Memorial Day. I have real goals. I have real achievement goals for my art and for my business, and it's. I often say it's like raising my child. It's different every year, which is great because I'm easily bored. So at this point, I have a wholesale business that takes me through at least half the year, and I do retail shows, which gets me through the rest of the year, and I save a little bit of time for teaching in the summer because I absolutely adore the teaching. I work harder than I've ever worked in my life, and for a lot less money, but am more rewarded and more turned on to my own life because it's all for something that's valuable. Here, wholesale, they think real numbers, real quantity. I don't work that way. The orders are mostly small, and even if they're large, they're not that large. I just sent out a very large order for me, which was 35 pieces to Carnegie Museum. I'm not going to work with the catalog. I'm not interested in making 100 of anything. So I just don't work that way. When you're in business, you get to decide what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And I find that very empowering. People come up to you all the time and suggest ways to take your business. And you can use your own lighthouse to say, you know, is this a place I want to go or not?